think I got it working. Okay, so today we are working on scatter plots and trend lines. So our job today is to describe the relationship between two variables and use them to make a prediction. So, with a scatter plot is actually two sets of data, two different sets of data. So what is a scatter plot? When you're comparing or looking at the relationship. So we're comparing two different sets of data. Two different sets of data, that's what that is. Next word, vocab, couple vocab, is a correlation. A correlation is a relationship between that data, so those sets of data. So it's a relationship.
Could you say relationship between scatter plots?
Yep, but I'm actually going to say it's a relationship, but it also, the correlation shows a trend of what's happening. A trend. So I want you to say relationship and a trend of what's happening. So I'm going to show you this by these four types of scatter plots that I have right here. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. And we talked a little bit about this, I think, yesterday, or I don't know, maybe it was the day before, I can't remember. So if you look at the four types of scatter plots, this one right here is a negative trend. It's a negative correlation. You guys see that? And the trend is that it's going down. And now look, if I put my dots right here on the line, comparing these dots that are on the line and the ones around it is a strong correlation. Yeah, because it's kind of tight. You see how they're close to my line. So that would mean a strong negative correlation. You guys with me? Now today, we're going to talk about a correlation coefficient. In this case, it's close to -1, and here's why. So this is a -1 correlation. And the reason is because if it were perfect right on that line, do you guys see that? That would be a linear line, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be exactly the same? The rate of change would be exactly the same. These are very, very close to it. Well, that would be -1 if they were on the line, perfect. They're close to it, so we're going to say it's a negative correlation of -1. Are you guys with me on that?
Yes.
Compare that to this one right here. This is our line of best fit. I'm just going to keep that line going through here. These are a little bit more scattered. You guys see how they're more scattered? So we're going to call this a weak negative correlation. Negative because it goes down. Are you guys with me on that?
Yes.
Now, tomorrow we're going to get into the exact correlation number, but today we're just doing an estimate. We're either doing -1, or if it doesn't have a strong correlation, we're going to say it has a -0.5, which means the further away from -1, the less it is close to the actual line. Does that make sense? So see, they're scattered, so we're going to call it -0.5. It's not exact. It's just an estimation. Are you guys good? Okay, so look at our positive. This is a strong positive, because if you look, if I were to draw a perfect dots, if all my dots were perfect on the line, do you see how tight they are? They're real snug. That means that's a strong positive, so we're going to call that a +1. That's the R is 1. The relationship is a 1. It's close to almost perfect. Not perfect, but close. This one, the dots are further away, so that's a weak positive correlation. Again, today, we're just going to call it a +0.5. You don't need the positive sign. But it's close, or I'm sorry, it's not close. It's a little bit further away. Are you guys with me? Okay, so what is a correlation coefficient? Here's the deal. If it's a 1 to a -1, we're going to call that a strong correlation. You can't see it. There it is right there. Thank you. So correlation coefficient is from 1 to -1. If it is 1 to -1 or -1, should have said or, because I'm going to do or today, because we're just going to close. How close? It's a strong correlation. If we're saying it is a -0.5 or a +0.5, that means that it is a weak correlation. Does that make sense, guys? Again, it's not perfect. This is an estimation. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do next, now going down to the bottom of that page, is now we're going to estimate the value of R, and the R is actually the correlation coefficient. Okay, the R. So indicating whether it is -1 negative 0.5, 0.5, or 1. Here's what I need you to do. I need you first to circle all the data, right around it, nice and tight, circle it. Circle it. So if you look at that data, first things first, is that a positive correlation or a negative?
Negative.
The reason I want you to circle it, guys, is because you can see the trend. You can see it's going down. Can you see it's a negative?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we were to put a line through the middle of that data, this is what I want you to do. You have it circled? I want you to put a line through it. We're gonna make like a line of best fit. And you don't have to touch any dots. I just want you to put, maybe try to get the same amount above as below. So here's my trend line. There's my line. Are my dots close to my line, or are they a little sparse, spread out? Yeah, so we're gonna call that a weak negative correlation. So this is a weak negative, what?
Correlation.
Yeah, well, I wanna say negative 0.5. And remember, if it's weak, it's a negative 0.5. Are you guys following me on that? Okay, alright, flip that page. So our next one is right here. And same thing, they've already given you the dots, so you don't have to graph this one. So what I want you to do, I want you to draw a trend line. But I'm telling you right now, before you draw your trend line, I want you to draw a circle around your data. It's tight to your data, make sure it's nice and tight. The reason I like it is because now it shows me what kind of trend line do I have, positive or negative? It's positive. So right now you have a positive. Now, inside your circle, inside that circle you just drew, I want you to draw a line through the middle of it. Inside the circle, good job. Inside the circle, so it has to go inside your circle. And your line should go right about right there. Now again, you don't have to touch your dots, I just happen to have touched 2. Ooh, I might be a little low on that. Do you see I only have 1 here? Yeah, I should have probably gone a little higher. I should have gone right there. I'm gonna retract that and take that one, and that one is below, that one, and that one is above. Alright. What do you guys think? Are those dots tight, close?
Kind of, yeah, some of them are touching the line.
I changed it. I'm using this one right here. So I'm using, these are on my line. And this is 2 above and 2 below. See that? This is okay though. It's just cause I used a pen. Alright guys, is that a strong or a weak correlation? What do you think?
I think strong.
It's strong, yep. So ready? Is it a positive 1? Cause that's our strong correlation right there, and it's positive. Are you guys with me? Give me the line with ya. Okay? Alright. Now, here's the next step, and this is where it gets into the meat of the homework today. Is now we have to determine the line of best fit, and we have to write an equation. So here we go. First things first, if we determine a line of best fit, we have to graph our data. So right now I need you to graph that data. So, I'm gonna grab a straight edge. You guys don't have to, but it helps. So it's 597, we're talking about the altitude of all these cities and their boiling point. So the city, Chicago, is 597, so I'm going over to 597.
Okay.
And I'm going up to 210 and putting a dot. You guys are doing the same thing. And I'm gonna keep going. You guys are doing your own now. Go ahead. Get her moving. Do your own. Draw your dots. Again, it's just an estimation, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. There it is. Alright, once you have your dots drawn, then I would like you to draw a circle around your dots, because that's gonna show your trend. So I need you to make a tight circle around your dots. So I'm drawing my circle around my dots, which mine are pretty close to perfect. There it is. Ready? Has everybody got that so far?
Yes.
Now, what I need you to do is be really, really careful, and I want you to draw a trend line through. I want you to try to have the same number of dots on above the line as below. And I'm gonna say it again. You do not have to actually go through any of the dots. Do not have to go through any of the dots. So I'm gonna go right about here.
This is very.
I want that one to be below, so I'm gonna go right there. I'm touching that one, I'm getting that one real close. Okay, I like it. I like my dots. Are you guys good? You got this? Right there. Thanks. Alright, are you guys good? Okay, here we go. So, our first step that we did to determine the line of best fit of data and then write the equation, over here I have your steps, is to graph the dots. So graph the points. So ready, right down here, graph the points, which is what we just did. Our second step is to find the slope. Now, I'm gonna write slope here, and I wanna tell you something. So one of my kids last hour said, can't we just use these points? And I'm gonna tell you no, and here's why. So you have to hear this, I don't know if you'll quite understand this, but if I use these points, do you understand it's gonna change my trend line? Because say I choose to use this point right here, and that point right there. Now I'm making a line going right here, do you guys see that? If I choose to use this point and that point, it might make my line go here. I don't want you to use these points, I want you to use your trend line. You have to find the slope from your trend line. But I'm gonna give you the easy way out, David, right here, check it out. The first dot you're gonna use is your y-intercept. So go up to here, and what point is that right there? What point is yours? What's your y-intercept, guys? Look at yours, what's your y-intercept? About 210?
Yeah.
About 210? Is anybody's 211? Look at yours, not mine. Yours is 211? Anybody else's 211?
Mine's 211.
Can we use 211? Because it's a really nice, easy answer. Alright, so ready? A line of best fit can go through the points 0, comma, to 11. Mine's a little bit lower than 211, but I'm gonna go with it, because it's an easy answer. Because remember, a trend line is just an estimation at this point. So, we need another coordinate pair. Now I want you to pick a coordinate pair that's on your line. Now I'm gonna look, I see one I have right here. We all have to use the same one for today, just for the notes. So ready, I'm gonna start at 4,000, I'm gonna go up, and I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna use 4,000, comma, 205, or 204, 204. Are you guys with me on that? I used 4,000, comma, 204, 2004, or 204, got it?
I can't, what is it?
Is that
One last time?
4,000, comma, 204. Next, we need to find the slope. So everybody, we're subtracting now. We already know how to find the slope. Write it down. It is 204 minus 211 divided by 4,000 minus 0. 4,000 minus 0. All right, ready? What is 204 minus 211 is?
-7.
We're writing right here, -7 over 4,000. That's my slope. Is everybody with me?
Yes.
Now look, that is the slope of my trend line. It is not the slope of my data. Got it? But your data is not a linear line, so all these slopes are not gonna be the same. We're doing an estimated trend line. Are you sorta with me? Okay, ready. Now, the easy part is next, because we already created the y-intercept. What is our y-intercept, guys? We already said it. 211. So our b is 211, write it down. And then we can write our equation. I'm gonna rewrite this, y equals, my slope, I want you to change to a decimal. I need that answer, because last hour we didn't use the same points. So -7 divided by 4,000, round it to the thousands place, because this is a very small number. So, can you give it to me? What'd you get? It is 0.002,
002.
and it's negative, right guys? So negative, you can put 0.002. Do you guys understand how I got that number? David, do you understand how I got that number? Who's not writing right now? Just wanna check. X plus 211. Everybody agree with me? Give me a little I agree with you. So this is our equation that fits that trend line, which is an estimation of all those points. Got it?
Got it.
Alright, so our next task is to do one on our own. So here we go.
I can't.
Here are our dots, here are our coordinate pairs. You've gotta graph that line. Okay? So everybody graph those dots. right now. So I'm gonna do that too, real quick.